and welcome back to part 26 of Dragonstar VARNIR, where today we're getting back to the plots, and it's going to be nothing but plots until we reach the credits. We've done everything optional that I wanted to do up to this point, so I decide before we begin the final stretch of the game, I show off everything I've collected and everything I've done off screen. Firstly, everyone's level 58, which might be slightly over leveled, but that's because I was grinding dragons to get people caught up, so it just ended up happening as so. These are the movesets I'll be going into the next dungeon with. I don't keep this. Some of this does get rearranged between now and the final boss, because we are going to get some amazing skills in the up and coming dungeon. But this is what I'll be entering with for everyone. The passive skills are something that you'll find yourself settling on what you like pretty early on and just sticking with it. And what I mean is that the passive skills I've got on the main party, outside of maybe one or two little hitches here and there, has pretty much been the same since like chapter 5. Like it rarely gets an excuse to be changed, so I've just left it as is. Additionally, this is the dragon list that I've got for pretty much the whole cast. Any icon that's blue means they're cleared out. Any icon that's red means I haven't cleared it out because I ran out of factor points. But as you can tell, I got more than enough factor points right now to get going. So when you're ready, head back into the sanctuary cave. Who would have thought we'd be here again? The place I'm taking us is beyond here. We're going inside the womb of the star. I'm sure Bendica knows we're coming. The womb of the star? I've never heard of that. Is it just beyond here? Yes, further into the sanctuary cave. You'd miss it if you didn't know what to look for. But Bendica knows it's there, right? So Bendica is waiting for us somewhere between here and the star's womb. I hope she comes out so we can fight her before the dragons tire us out. Yeah, that's a long path ahead. Let's get going. And yes, you do have to run through the whole sanctuary cave. It's a bit of a power trip, because when you go back through here, you'll realise just how much stronger you are from the level, like, what, 8 or 9 days of when you were first here. So most of the enemies here will be scared of you, because you'd so drastically out-level them. Some aren't, because some have no ability to be scared, but most are, as you can see here. Meaning if you want to devour them to add their dragon to your skills, because you haven't already, you have to just run into them. Don't whack them with any of your weapons. Of course, there are still a few enemies down here who don't care no matter what that you'll still be expected to fight. But for the most part, it's not too bad. And let's be honest, even if they do decide to fight you, what's the hassle? You're 50 odd levels above where you should be for this dungeon. And when you're ready, just carry on going. You're doing okay, right? Yeah, this is nothing. What about you? Feeling alright? Yep, not like I'd ever plan on showing you on my weak side again. Don't worry about me. Amazing, Charlotta! I just want to be just like you! Don't push it, Charlotta. Yeah, you can ride on my back if you get too tired. Why, thank you, Karikaro, and if you get a little scared out there, you can let me give you a hug and sing you a lullaby. I was trying to be nice, you know. I'm only teasing. Good, we're in good spirits, let's keep going. And there's going to be a save crystal, because if you're not on the true ending, a boss fight is coming right now. If you're on the true ending path, you're actually not getting this boss fight, which I find kind of peculiar. For reasons that'll make sense as you go, but it's a little disappointing that you miss it on the true ending, but you'll see. So you made it all the way here, did you? I got so tired of waiting, I was about to come pick you up from the den. Bendica! It's been a while, everyone. She's controlling so many dragons! It's the power of the magical device she stole from the Raven's research facility. You don't need to be so afraid. I do have a heart, you know. I won't take your lies if you just listen carefully. What do you want? I have no business with you weaklings. My business is the one who claims to be the Witch of Hellfire, the aloof one standing among you. Huh? For a split second she looked like she was in pain. What do you want me to do? Firstly, I want you to beg for your life. Don't be an idiot. Hand me the magical device. Don't make me laugh. Who in their right mind would just hand it over to you? Who would waste this opportunity? I have endured all of these years, all of these painful, excruciating years, just so I could exact my revenge upon you. I feel it already, the elation, the absolute joy that will come once I strike you down and see you writhing in pain on the ground. Her powers, it must be so great, I could barely breathe, and I'm just looking at her. Maybe the quality of her magic has changed after refraining from consuming dragons for so long. I think you could use a bite of dragon meat. You're looking a little thin, you know. Ha! You can joke for now. You survived for so long without going mad or becoming a dragon? By sheer will? Why do you hate Charlotta so much? That is none of your business. Well, maybe it is now. It's time to expose her for who she truly is. It's time you understood her true nature. True nature? I used to think she was my friend too. I just thought she was a strange witch who liked going from den to den on her own. She was never fazed by anything. Witches would talk about her behind her back, but she never cared about that. She was always aloof, detached, but for some reason I could never find a fault in her. This all changed when she shared the truth about this world with me. She shared it with me because she thought I had potential to be the next Dragon Star. She assumed it would make me happy to know this. It was the stupidest, most idiotic thing I'd ever heard in my life. I was so upset to even hear the truth I could barely breathe. Didn't she tell you that story because she trusted you? Trust her! I thought Charlotta was like me, but she only saw me as a tool, a person who only had value as a Dragon Star. She never cared about me. You feel like Charlotta betrayed you? Considering the tension, the animosity, Bendica must have really trusted and cared about Charlotta. Bendica, I admit, I could have explained all of it to you a lot better than I did, and I'm sorry for that, but... shut up! Shut the hell up! There's no point in saying that now. Charlotta is a manifestation of VARNIR itself. As long as the Dragon Star is alive, no matter how many times I kill her, she never truly dies. This is why I've continued to search. I have laboured in my research, trying to find something more painful for her than death. And I think I've finally found it, and with that, I have found my happiness. Charlotta, what is she? Oh, there you are. You're right, thank goodness. Minessa! Huh? What? Those voices. No. Hey! Phew! It's you. What are you girls doing here? Shut up! We discovered something huge! We came here to tell you! Sorry for leaving the den, but we have something we really need to tell you. We just wanted to help out.
This place is dangerous! How did you all— Oh, save it! Hey, you girls, get behind me! Hey! Don't go near her!
Why not? Can't we talk to her?
Yeah, why not? She's a witch too, right?
She was really nice to us last time. Why can't we go near her?
Last time? What do you mean? When did you talk to the girls?
Girls, I'm not a very kind woman. You know I'm a very scary witch, don't you?
For the main villain, I'd absolutely adore how sensitive Bendica is towards children.
Oh, you're a scary witch? Wait. I wanted to ask you something.
That bracelet! That's the reason you've been living such a long time, right?
What? What do you mean?
Hey, are you talking about that dragon device? It's used to control dragons. Why do you girls know about that?
It was written on the book Zeffy lent me.
Wait, are you talking about my father's book?
Yeah! We translated it, but couldn't really understand it. The informant helped us.
It was... Peel, what did it say again? Ugh, seriously? That bracelet controls the dragon inside of a witch's womb. It has the power to slow its growth. It can stop the dragon from killing you.
What? The bracelet can do all that?
Considering it's able to control grown dragons, it does make sense.
Are you girls done babbling?
I had no idea such a thing existed.
So this bracelet is the reason you've been able to live so long.
Don't be a fool. I don't need this bracelet for that. The reason I've been able to live so long without going mad or having a dragon consume me is because of my hatred towards Charlotta.
You seriously think this had nothing to do with the bracelet? You just kept the dragon at bay using sheer will?
That's damn right. This bracelet is for something completely different. This was designed to enslave all of the dragons. When the long-awaited star dragon is born, I will force it to take its own life. I will throw Charlotta into the pits of despair.
How could you?
What? My father created that device to save witches' lives! You're not just gonna sit here and tell me you're gonna manipulate the Dragon Star to kill itself!
Zephy.
I see. So the person who did all that research and wrote that book was your father. It was a little incomplete, but it served me well. Don't get me wrong, it was a nice read to have back at the den. It even helped me come up with the perfect revenge.
You bastard!
Calm down, Zephy.
I understand now why my father wrote that book in ancient text. It was so the humans wouldn't use it to kill witches. But who would have thought a witch would be the one to use it that way?
Hey, lady, why are you planning something so terrible?
Terrible? The very existence of this star is terrible. It's why I decided to burn everything a decade ago. All the dens, over 100 witches. I spared them all from this terrible existence.
What terrible existence? I assume she's talking about our own.
That's right. The witches don't possess autonomy. They are only vessels born to maintain this star. We're born to suffer. If we aren't hunted, we go mad, or we starve. What kind of life is that? It's a cursed life. There's no way I can let such a tragedy continue. I was able to release the others from this terrible existence by killing them!
That's how you decided to help us? You put us through that hell to save us? So this dumb witch decided that the Carnival of Death was a better option for us? What an idiot!
If you truly wanted to release the witches from their fate, there were other ways. You didn't have to kill them.
Stop your stupid lies! If you seriously think that, why didn't you tell me that before?
I told you the truth. You didn't listen. You got upset and stormed off. Not long after that, you burned down the den. Anything else I would have said to you would have fallen on deaf ears.
What? What else could I have done?
If you had become the Dragon Star, you could have spared witches from the curse, at least until your life was over.
Me? The Dragon Star? I could have saved my fellow witches. They could have lived a normal life that wasn't cursed.
That's right. But what's the point in telling you all of this now?
If I had just taken the time to listen, who knows?
This is sad. She really wanted to save her friends.
I can empathize, but I cannot forgive.
So now what? You want to use the magical device to kill the Dragon Star?
What if I said yes?
I figured you wouldn't back down. I have no choice but to settle the score.
What? Wait a minute!
Charlie, you can't fight! Charlotta, lady, you two just had a misunderstanding, right? Now that you know what really happened, how can you still fight?
You're so naive. This doesn't change the facts. Consider what she's done. Consider the lives she's taken. It's best we end this here. We will avenge every witch who died in vain.
Yeah, you sure got my number.
Lady!
All right, girls. It's time to stand back.
That lady prayed for Raruda.
What?
Well, we met her at the grave.
We were there visiting Raruda.
You saw her at the grave?
You girls, stay out of this.
Why not? It's the truth.
I'm just not convinced you're a scary witch. We all know that you're a kind witch.
You all can get out of my way. Charlie! If she intends to kill the Dragon Star, I can't let her live any longer. I'm sorry. What? She won't do that, I know it. Yeah, you're not gonna do it, right? Just shut up and get out of my way. No! We don't want to see you or the lady die. Girls. Just stop it. What? It's okay, girls. Lady! What a letdown. I don't need this anymore. She destroyed the dragon device? What's she doing? Charlotta's gone soft. Maybe she's been made weak by the little witches. I've no business with her now. You'll be on your way. Wait, are you going to destroy the magic device you put on the dragon? Some nerve to make us battle and protect our little sisters at the same time. What? Why is she just standing there? Oh, it's a dragon. What are we gonna do? Vanessa! It's okay, girls. Get behind me. Oh, if she destroys the dragon device, then the dragons won't be under its control anymore. She's just waiting for us to leave so little sisters won't be in danger. What are you doing? Why don't you just use the device to have them kill themselves? This doesn't control their body, it only controls the dragon's mind. In order to make them take an action against their will, an incredible amount of focus is required. And I can only focus on one at a time. That means we're going to have to fight. You really changed, didn't you? Do you think you can do something about the dragons once we leave? That's suicide. If you're doing this for the sake of the little sisters, then I'm going to help too. Stay out of this. You have no business worrying about what happens to me. Bendica! I don't think we can convince you. Zephy, it's okay. Let's leave this to Bendica and get out of here. Okay. Hey, wait, nobody needs to become the Dragon Star. We figured it out. If we make the bracelet, just like the book says, we can make a witch's life last longer. Monet wants all of us to go back home together. I'm really thankful for all the work you put into your research, and even for coming out here to share it with us. But even if we use the device to lengthen a witch's life, we can't make the life of the star last any longer. Well... And besides, even if we are able to expand the lifespan, I'm sure there's still a limit. We'll keep looking for another way. Don't worry. When the time comes, I'll be the next Dragon Star, so don't worry. Hey, Zephy, I never approved that. Yeah, your family too, Zephy. You can't sacrifice yourself. Tch. Hey, get the hell out of here already. Or would you rather I kick you out by force? Move it! She's right, let's go. Yeah, good idea. Hey, this is a dead end. Nothing to worry about. You just do this, and a door opens. Oh wait, we got the kids with us now. Whoa, there's a passage beyond the rock. It feels like a secret adventure. I'm so excited. Okay, well, go ahead. Is the star's womb beyond this point? Yes, come to think of it. What was that crap you were saying earlier? You better not be thinking of doing something stupid. Well. Don't forget, the reason we're going to the womb is to look for a way that no one has to become a sacrifice. We haven't lost hope yet. Sorry. Just as long as you know. Come on, keep it moving. Yeah, Charlotta cares. She doesn't want Zephy to go. Becoming the Dragon Star is a sacrifice, is it? No one would willingly volunteer themselves to be a sacrifice. Are you telling me one of them would sacrifice themselves to save the ones they love? If one of them sacrificed themselves, there'd be nothing but sadness for the ones they left behind. But for me, I promise to not make the same mistake again. Although it says Sanctuary Cave again, it's a translation error. It's actually called the Holy Cave. We'd imagined a place would be here. Adventure! It's adventure time! On the show. I'm so excited to go on a cool adventure with our older sisters. Hey, Shakira, don't run. This isn't a playground. Be on your guard. But we're outside with you all. We can't help but have a little fun. It's like being on one of those picnics I always read about. Hey, should we head back and drop them off at the den? Be my guest. It'll be a waste of time, though. Yeah, it'll be dangerous whichever way they go. Why don't we respect their efforts and let them stick around? Besides, they're better off under our protection anyway. Brother Zephy, you're so cool. Thanks, Zephy. Fine, you girls will get to hang out with us for a little longer then. Hey, yay! But this isn't time for adventuring. It's no picnic either. I need you all to remember that. Man. Manessa's right. Do not run off on your own and always make sure we can see you. Aww. They're right. And if something happens to us, you all need to be prepared to survive on your own. This is important. Be prepared for the worst. You need to keep looking if we won't be able to do anymore. Got it? Where's my answer? Got it. I like that response. Alright, let's go. Wow, they got quiet real fast. I think we scared them a little bit. I'm just relieved that worked. Welcome to the Holy Cave. The second to last dungeon of the game. I love the build up to the end with the end game here. Because we are approaching the Star's Womb. And instead of it being this big dramatic piece, it's a very slow, methodical, atmospherical piece building in the background. I fucking love this track.
This looks handy.
This piece of theme, the Holy Caves theme, I genuinely love it the bits. It's such a brilliant track. It's so perfectly atmospheric of what it's trying to do. Builds up the finale perfectly. And you're going to be here a while, because although this dungeon's pretty short, it's very non-linear. You can kind of go a lot of different directions once you're outside of this initial guard. Like, there's a giant donut shape with loads of tunnels coming off everywhere. So you can kind of go where you want for a good chunk of it, making it rather big. All the enemies here are far step above what you'll be used to up until this point, with Cosmodius as being just a shining example of where we're starting. There are old mini-bosses that will appear here as normal enemies.
I wonder if this is useful.
Some of the enemies here will actually start dropping as well, the highest tier of elemental magic in the game.
This seems nice.
You will be getting Fire God, Earth God, Water God, the spell equivalents of each one, which do insane damage, close to 600 and sometimes 650 in some elements, and can hit group wide. Which is why I said you're going to be reconfiguring your spells again pretty soon, because the spells you're going to get in here, don't try and make it so you have more than one, and understand that if you're equipping one, you're going to have to sacrifice something else, because it's 6 skill points you're spending when you've only got 20 spare to fill up a list. So you're going to have to give up something if you want to keep it and still have a decent list. But I will try and get the strongest light spell on Zephy, the strongest water spell on Manessa, and the strongest fire spell on Charlotta. I end up getting the strongest dark spell as well, and throwing that on Charlotta as well, which really shrinks down what she has access to, because 12 of her 20 points is already taken. So I have to kind of shrink it down on the other side to balance it out. Additionally, every now and then you might see on either our physical skills or magic skills that I have 6 skills when you can only put on 5. If you're wondering what that is, certain weapons and equipment have skills tied to them, and so having them equipped will give you that skill as well. So you can, to an extent, manipulate your build to fit into that. The Dragon God equipment that you can get here is really good, but the elixirs at this point you can make far better. Same with the Dragon God armor. You're going to see me kind of check it on everyone and be like, oh, it's kind of not great. Because the stuff we've made from elixirs is just better. But as we're on a little bit longer stretch, I'm going to let the music play because it's an amazing track. This theme is just everything I could ask for this kind of build-up. Because we're working towards the end, but there's this uncertainty of what we're approaching. We don't know what to expect, we don't know how it's going to end up, we don't know if someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves, because we haven't found another way to deal with the dying star yet. We're in such a peculiar, curious situation, and the music just represents that perfectly. During that music piece though, we encountered an enemy called Bumbubun, which Bumbubun, other than being a really stupid name for an enemy, is probably the biggest pain in the backside in this dungeon. For such a small thing, its evasion stat is through the roof, so good luck getting a Devourer on it, and it's actually surprisingly powerful. It can rip your party apart even at a good level. If you ever go into a fight with them, and there's 2 or 3 in the party, I'd honestly recommend just running away because they can wipe you in 2 turns. Also, yeah, these duplicating bastards are here as well. They're not as bad as the Chrome Lodgers, I mean, assuming they don't accidentally duplicate someone in the dragon form. But they are still annoying, so just be wary of them. Especially because every time they're hit with a significant attack, they duplicate themselves. The duplicated version will have the same health of whatever the previous version had, so they're all weak, but it's still annoying.
Feel the heartbeat. This is the dragon.
Additionally, as I've mentioned before, now we're past the time limit, don't worry if someone goes into their berserk form, because it will not affect your madness scale. Just embrace the extra power.
Sense the dragon.
Not that that's going to happen anytime soon. It will happen eventually. I do get to show it off, thankfully, but just not yet. And see, now I'm worried, because it's just duplicated someone in the dragon form, so it can instant kill the whole party. So I'm like, okay, you're going now. And then it does another one, I'm like, ah! Everyone's dragon form. Being everyone in dragon form is a terrifying circumstance to put yourself in when enemies can copy themselves off you. Because it only needed to get one group-wide attack in and it was over. But as you might have noticed what I said, it is just a giant circle. The opposite corner of where you start is where you need to be, but there's loads of tunnels and loot and things around that you're gonna be here for a while. Look, we're not even halfway yet. And there's just so much here that just embrace the calm before the storm that is the Holy Cave. Which is odd that it's mistranslated as heavily as it is, because it's called the Sanctuary Cave in this mistranslation, but there's already a dungeon called the Sanctuary Cave, so there's 2 dungeon listings that are called Sanctuary Cave, yet when you click on this it gives you its actual name, which is Holy Cave. The soundtrack also has this misspelling. There's 2 tracks, this mistranslation even, there's 2 tracks that have the exact same name, which is why when I uploaded the soundtrack I translated it from the Japanese version myself. And the Japanese version yourself, you translate the track, it says Holy Cave, not Sanctuary Cave. I don't know what happened. Like, even the map screen there, when I brought it up, it said Sanctuary Cave at the top. Like, they mistranslated it, and I guess the mistranslated version they put through was linked to most things. And it's only, like, afterwards they retranslated it, and I was like, oh no, this means Holy Cave. And it's only when you're in here it says Holy Cave. If it just said Deep Sanctuary Cave, I would have at least let them off, because at least it still makes sense. But implying this is the exact same dungeon as the second dungeon of the game is baffling.
This looks handy. Shatter. Shatter.
But this isn't the last dungeon, this is the second to last. This dungeon leads straight into the actual last, which is why it's such a calm piece, because the actual power of the finale is yet to come. And it's also just a very clear indicator of how close to the end we actually are. Like, I know Dragonstar's a bit shorter than all the other JRPGs I've covered on this channel, but I still had a blast, and this has still gone a little quicker than I expected it to. When I was actually recording this game, it caught me by surprise just how quickly I got to the other side of the time limit. Like, I knew that theoretically, when you consider the moment the time limit starts, it's the first Star Temple. There isn't that many. There's like 6 or 7 dungeons between the start and the end, so it's not too bad. And the fact that there's no hub world or anything of the sort means you just walk from one place to the other as the plot demands it and get through it. The only reason it took longer is because I always made sure to do the side quests along the way. Only thing I missed was the other floor of the underground passageway, which we came back for last time. Like, it's still a lot shorter of a game than people realise. And I still get that now. People go into it and they go, huh, it's not as long as I thought it would be. Like, I think people... It surprised people that Death End Request is shorter than what people were used to. Like, if you play the Neptunia games and go to Death End, you're like, wow, this is a bit shorter. Then you go to Dragonstar and it's even shorter. But then also, admittedly, unlike Death End and Nep 4, as much as I love Nep 4, I've come back to this game far more often. So I'm far more experienced with it. And so, by nature, I was always going to get through it quicker by default. There is a Nizhegg back over here, which is a terrible name for a dragon. Is it Nizhegg or is it Nizhegg? It's probably like neither. If it's like, no, it's Nidhogg. What? Why? How is it? But this is probably the rarest enemy that will spawn in here. And I'm thankful that that's the rare one, because then you can spot it from a mile away. Because it's the biggest. But that's one of the ones that will actually drop an ultimate spell, I believe. I think that one drops the ultimate Earth spell. I think. I'm sure I'll find out, because as you've also probably noticed, now we're not on a time limit. I'm exploring dungeons the way I usually do. Exploring it with a fine-tooth comb. And just enjoying it for what it is. It's just how I enjoy JRPGs. I like taking my time and just going through them. It's the only thing that kind of worked against this game is that time limit, because it's the same when I was doing Net 4. I took my sweet time going through everywhere in that. Final Fantasy 15 and 12, Death End. I always take my time going through dungeons because it's just what I like to do. I get a huge kick out of just spending time and working my way through, slowly but surely, each dungeon and environment. And you'd bet your ass it's going to be the same deal when I get Death End 2. Which, speaking of, Death End Request 2 is now out on Steam. But I don't have a PC that works in any capacity, so I am waiting for the PS4 release. Because I'm in the UK, the PS4 release is slightly later in the UK, on the 28th of August. Meaning I've still got another week or so to go before its release. Not that I'm too fussed though, because I've pre-ordered the collector's edition straight from the website, so I'll probably do an unboxing video because it's quite a bulky collector's edition. And Idea Factory, if you Idea Factory International even, if you pre-order it from their website, they have an amazing track record of accidentally sending them early. People already have the collector's edition of Death End 2 in the UK. It's already arrived, so theoretically it could arrive any day. If that happens, I'm going to make very clear right now, I will not under any circumstance be posting any footage of the game onto my YouTube until after it is officially released. Because I'm not some review coder, I don't know the encryption date, and I wouldn't want to upset anyone on that development side by throwing it out early. Even though, yeah, it probably doesn't matter because it's out on Steam, I'd still rather not. If that makes sense? Like, I'd still rather just avoid that and just not do that. We got a rising mail from one of the enemies here, which I eventually decided to equip, because although it's a heavy piece of armor, so it does slow you down, it's also bulky as shit. So whoever you equip it to is becoming a lot tankier, so you might as well throw it on someone. Like, just have one person in your party be a bit more tanky. Realistically, I should have put it on Manessa, but Charlotta would do just fine. Like, I'll record footage of Death End 2 for sure. And as much as I'd say I'd like to do a review for it, the main reason I never did a review for Death End 1 is because the plot was so complicated that I wasn't sure how to explain it, and eventually I thought, no, I probably wouldn't do it justice trying to. I'd rather do a Let's Play down the line and just theorise on it as we go. And so as much as I'll say I'd like to, because the last review I did in any sense was Dragonstar, the game we're playing right now, which works out, I probably won't. Like, there's a good chance I won't if the plot's anything like the first game. I'd rather just enjoy it on my own, kind of just take it for what it is, get some of the different endings, maybe try and get the Platinum Trophy like I did with Death End 1. Because that's the thing, when you get a Platinum Trophy, or a completion on if you're doing achievements on one game, you kind of feel inclined to want to do it for the sequel. But I've looked at the trophy list for the sequel, and although it's still kind of an easy list, it also looks more annoying because there's a separate trophy for getting the bad ending. And to be fair, the first game had a separate trophy for getting the bad ending as well. But that was easy enough because if you got the requirements for the true ending, you could just then click no at the last hurdle and get it anyway. Whilst in the sequel, because I've deliberately avoided any and all spoilers, I have no idea how that'll work out, so it might be the same sort of difficulty list, but it might not. There's also a separate trophy for getting an extended version of the true ending. It's like get a trophy for true ending, and then there's a trophy for true ending EX. So I'm guessing true ending EX is like getting 100%. Because that's usually how that sort of thing works in JRPGs. It's like if you do the requirements to get the true ending, but then go out of your way to do absolutely everything else, they will throw on a little extra at the end. Which makes me wonder, because if they're doing a true ending and a true ending EX, it means they're not doing character endings anymore. At least that's what I think it means. Which means they probably learnt their lesson from the first game, because one of the problems with the first game is that because there's so many different endings, you don't know which one's canon and which one's not, and worse than that, you don't actually know what's going on. You don't know what plot points you're supposed to pick up on and what you're not. Which is why I spent so much time talking about Death End 1's ending in its credit scene, because it's so much to discuss to try and work out what the heck was going on with that. And thankfully Dragonstar's ending is so much more to the point. Assuming a true ending, I've yet to see the neutral and the madness ending to know how bad they get in terms of comparison. Oh, speaking of Death End, a DPD truck just arrived. I'm going to keep a glance at that. If you hear a cut in the recording, you know why. Probably not me, but oh well. I've got my attention's been pulled.
My turn.
No, it's across the road. Never mind.
How unfortunate.
I was hopeful. I was optimistic for a second. That would have been perfect if it just arrived during my recording. DPD just being one of the delivery services here in the UK.
My turn.
But anyway, we are nearly done with this place. We've nearly done our lap, which is pretty the easiest way to explain it.
This looks useful.
But if they're not doing character-specific endings, hopefully that'll make the plot easier to understand. So when I eventually Let's Play Death End 2, because let's be honest, I'd be foolish not to. Like, ignoring the fact that I loved Death End 1 quite a lot, even if it wasn't in my favourites, like this game is and how Net 4 is, I still really enjoy Death End a lot. Death End was also my most successful Let's Play to date. It's got higher views on that than anything I've ever covered. So there's clearly an audience who wants me to cover that, so of course I'm going to cover it. Not straight away, because it's a turn-based JRPG that's going to take a while, so I'm obviously going to want to just play it first, get through it, enjoy it, find everything there is to make it work out what all the death ends are, because there's actually a trophy for getting every single death end in Death End 2, which wasn't a thing in the first game because it rewarded you per death end you found, which I'm like, okay. So I'll probably be waiting for the walkthrough to come out for that, just so I can make sure I get every death end. And then after a little while after that, then I'll come back and record it, like once the dust has settled a little bit. So it won't be straight away, because if I do it back to back after my first few recordings, I'll tire out. If I'm honest, I know I will. Turn-based JRPGs aren't intended for you to be going straight to New Game Plus several times on the trot like that, or just doing another fresh new game so many times on the trot. You will burn yourself out. You might notice that during this tree of well, firstly, it's the first time we've gone through the tree in a while, because it's always been off-screen where I've been rushing through. Ice Age is the strongest water-based attack in the game, so I'm glad Vanessa got that. But you might have noticed we got Aura, Aura, Aura. Aura, 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 other than being an annoying name to say, and probably being a joke, is an amazing skill to have. For 3 turns, it boosts every single stat by 150%. So it's 2.5 times every stat. So you turn into a god for 3 turns, making it something you want. Because if you equip it, use it, go into a dragon's form, and then unleash a physical attack, you're ripping hell. You're unleashing some insane damage and power upon everyone in front of you.
Useful.
But here's the Sanctuary Cave Depths, as they call it, even though it's the Holy Cave. It should be called Holy Cave Depths. And here's the end of the dungeon, as we go into the true final dungeon beyond here. Ah! What was that? It's another huge one. Hey, seriously, you really need a diet plan. Kikaru, don't make it upset. This one seems like it's really hard to defeat. I know, I just couldn't help it. I mean, look at that thing. It was begging to be made fun of. Alright, Kikaru, it's only for fat shaming here. She's trying to work out where to go. Oh, it's really huge. Mine, Shikita, Pio, get back. This battle's going to be hard. We might not be able to protect you girls as easily as before. Now hurry. Okay, let's go, girls. Alright, stop rushing us. We'll deal with you soon enough. Can we really take that thing? You can't talk like that or you'll give up before you even start. Alright, follow my lead. Because it has to be a boss fight. Zangils.
Let's go.
Or is it Zangils? I'm going to say Zangil because Zangil sounds easier to say. You know the pattern by now, but this is the penultimate boss technically. So don't expect it to be a pushover. Your first priority should be buffing everyone's defenses and lowering its attack, just so you can tank some of the attacks it can throw out. Because failure to do so will let you know. This is the first real fight that you feel things like that. If you aren't prepared to adjust stats, you're going to struggle with this fight a lot. It's not the end of the world, but you're going to feel this fight grind to a halt and really slow down. And its attacks, ignoring its basic bite attack, which it likes to do all too often, you're going to feel it. I'm getting lucky there because all of its basic attacks, it used it on someone who's got good physical defense, and then it used its fire attack on the one resistant to fire. So I was like, that worked out. Despite the fact this thing's weak to fire itself, which is peculiar. But this is aura. It causes defense, magic defense, attack, and magic attack to be boosted by 150% for the following 3 turns. Oh, I didn't use it there, I was expecting to. Damn it, past me. Instead I've got Power Store, which is charge. If you've ever played a Persona game, it's charge. It's double physical damage on next turn. Which you might say, well, it's just wasting a turn to attack again later. What's the point? That's ignoring critical modifiers. If you get a critical hit on it, you're doing insane damage more than if you just hit twice. Plus, stacked on top with physical and damage boosts, you're ripping out even more damage because of the way it acknowledges that as well. Get a Power Store, aura, dragon form, physical strike, watch like 30,000 HP vanish from your opponent. It's ridiculous. You want to wipe out endgame insanely quick, get that setup going for your whole party. Get a Power Store and aura, get them in dragon form, unleash. Just let's let hell reign and watch what happens. But the main priority here is trying to get rid of that miasma breath, just because it can hit row wide, and since I want to prioritize physical attacks, it means people have to be on the same row. And it can inflict status conditions, which obviously you don't want. I get insanely lucky for most of this fight. It doesn't use any of its real dangerous attacks for like a long time. But this fight can absolutely be really dangerous if you're not prepared for it. I just get lucky. And yes, this boss fight is the rest of the video. We are not going into the next dungeon of the game properly until the next part. Which I know is so exciting. What's probably more so is, if you've been watching long enough, you know that I try and upload Monday through to Friday, and I only upload on the weekend if I miss a weekday. So if I don't get 5 uploads a week, I'll try and squeeze one in the weekend to make up for it. Well, all the recording is done and edited into the parts they're going to be, so I only need to do the voiceover for them now. It will finish on a Friday. Not tomorrow, before you ask. A Friday after. Because and that's including post-game. So it will clean up on a week. There won't be like, you go to the next week and there's like 1 or 2 videos just lingering over. So it always kind of annoys me when that ends up happening. Because I'd rather it like give you a full 5 parts that week, not 1 or 2 and then just call it a day. And thankfully this project will be one of the ones where that won't happen, where I will get a full 5 parts in next week before we wrap up. How that will stand when I eventually do the madness path later down the road, who knows. But it will happen eventually. Since this thing's weak to fire as well, I might as well just go for the Devour. Now she's in her dragon form. I know you can't Devour it because it's a boss fight, but it's a free like 6,500 damage.
My turn.
But at this point, now she's in the dragon form, what I should have done there is aura and then Power Store. But I think I was kind of in the mindset of I don't want this boss fight to end in 2 turns. I don't want to completely embarrass this fight. I want to show like what it can do and let it do everything it can, so you know what it's capable of. But it just doesn't seem to do much, so I just keep on hitting it. And I'm like, okay, well if you're not going to do anything, Dragon's Dinner is the only real thing that's kind of annoying of what it's done. It does have Ice Breath as well, but we've already got rid of it, and Ice Breath was probably its biggest threat. So at this point I'm like, well, what's going on? Why is this boss fight not challenging me at all? But it can absolutely challenge you. Especially more so if you didn't go back and grind out the dragons after the time limit like I did, which are probably going to be like 6 or 7 levels lower, and you're going to feel that difference. On my blind playthrough, to give a comparison, I finished the final boss and finished this game at level 60 exact. And we entered here at level 58. So we're not going to be level 60 by the time we get to the end, obviously. We are going to be a slightly higher level. Which wasn't my intention. I don't like being too leveled. It's just what ended up falling into place because I wanted those dragons. I was annoyed at how many dragons I didn't get on certain characters throughout it, so I was like, no, I'm going back and getting them. There was no question about it. Now I'm going for it. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, this fight's gone on long enough. I already knew I was going to keep the boss fight in this video, so the video is going to be like 50 odd minutes long. And the reason why I wanted this to fit into the same video and not make it separate is because I want the final dungeon of the game to be on its own. I didn't want the next part to be this boss fight and then some other final dungeon. I wanted the final dungeon to completely stand on its own, and then the final boss stand on its own afterwards, because the final boss and the cutscene surrounding it's kind of long.
I'll do my best.
And it's also why I made sure to finish up everyone's social links before we got in here. So then there was no interruptions. We are literally just going from the Holy Cave into the final dungeon, to the final boss, to the credits. To our post-credit scene, which your post-credit scene is dependent on who you date, whoever you go on to start a relationship with, which in our instance is Charlotta, so you'll get to see the fruits of your labour, or the fruits of my labour for going for Charlotta. But it'll be different depending on who you go for, and I've already uploaded a video back when this game was fresh, like a year ago, showing every single character's epilogue. Because as I've said before, I will go out of my way to put in this Let's Plays playlist after the main adventure is done, so if you are curious about what all the epilogues are, you can just check them out. Ow, as it uses more health fireballs and biting. At this point I'm pretty sure it's the only 3 skills it's got. Because we got rid of its more dangerous stuff before it really used it. Which I still find baffling that it didn't use it really at all. And so this boss fight, that is absolutely a threat, I promise you, ended up not being a threat at all. At least the final boss doesn't do the same for me. Jumping ahead a little bit, the final boss is exactly as challenging as I hoped it would be, and shows off exactly why you should be as afraid of it as you should be. Like, I was expecting that one after this one to kind of do the same, but thankfully that one didn't. And I do get to show off why it's such a threat. Same with both the post-game bosses, because there are 2 of them. Both of them, when I recorded them, were fair challenges. But this guy's nearly dead. Zangils, or Zangils, or ZG. It is nearly down. I don't even get Karikara's fat joke. Because look at this thing. This thing isn't that bad. It's big, but it's not fat. Like, what's going on there, Karikara, eh? Well, I was expecting it to just be this big hulking glutton dragon thing, but no, it's just Karikara's bullying the thing. Also, one of our characters is stunned, so Manessa didn't get to join in. Not that it matters, because it died anyway. And you get 50,000 experience points, a very healthy chunk, putting everyone to level, well, nearly level 60. Look how much Faria's caught up. Somehow we managed to beat it. I seriously thought we were goners. Is anyone hurt? I'm okay. I was really scared. Are there going to be more of those? Presumably, as we next time in Dragonstar VARNIR go into the final dungeon of the game. But until then, you guys take care now.